Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got some EFL predictions, so I'm going to be going through what I think is going to happen in the returning League 1 and League 2, as well as also the Championship. The Championship is back. I'm very excited. League 1 and League 2 last weekend provided some great entertainment, but now we've got the Championship back as well. I'm expecting fireworks. There are some great games across all three leagues this week. The way I'm going to do this, I am going to be covering 3 games per league, and I'm going to be going into some detail as to who I think is going to win and why, but I'm also going to give my predictions for the other games at the end of the segment. We're going to start with League 2, then do League 1, finish off with the Championship. And yeah, like I say, many exciting games this weekend, so let's go and see what I'm predicting. Game 1 for League 2, I've gone for Notts County versus Sulford. For me, it was points dropped at Newport for Notts County. Realistically, they would have wanted to start the season off with a win, especially against a team which I and many other people had them as beating. So yeah, they're going to want to bounce back in that way. As for Sulford, losing 3-1 at home to Crewe, credit to Crewe, they played really well. Sulford did have a few chances, but ultimately they need to do more. They're going to need to get their players firing, so it's going to be a very interesting game. Even though the first game for Notts County was a bit lackluster, I'm imagining the players are going to be well up for it on Saturday, as well as the players, the fans as well. First home game back of the season, there's always going to be excitement, even if you do lose or draw the first game. So I'm expecting that home crowd to be a big influence in this game. Salford did show glimpses at Crewe, as I mentioned, but it just wasn't enough, and we're going to need the key players to really step up here if Salford have any chance of getting any points away from home. In terms of what I predict for this game, I was very torn. I was very torn between a draw and a Notts County win. I've settled for a Notts County win, and that is ultimately due to the fact that the fans might just give them that extra boost. Don't get me wrong, this could finish a draw, but if I had to choose one of them to edge it, I'd go Notts County. So I'm backing myself, Notts County to win against Salford. And if Salford do lose back-to-back, they're going to really need to stop the rot. And I know it's early days in the season and there's no need to panic at these points, but they're going to have to start picking up some points. I have them down as a playoff charge. They won't want to start off losing 2 in a row. For my second game for League 2, I'm going to go for Fleetwood versus Bristol Rovers. And this is a very exciting game. If you would have told me that one of these teams would have lost last week and one of them would have won, I would have put, well, I did put money on it. I would have put money on Bristol Rovers to have won and Fleetwood to have lost. But it was the opposite. Fleetwood picked up 3 points away from home at Barnet, and Harrogate Town went to Bristol Rovers and managed to steal 3 points. So even though Bristol did dominate much of that game, the fact that they lost is massive for this, because this will give Fleetwood all the confidence in the world. As I say, they did dominate parts of the game against Harrogate, but ultimately, Bristol Rovers would have never wanted to start the season like this. It's a huge loss against a team that a lot of people have down to get relegated, so they're going to want to bounce back. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise for the players, because they'll have come down here, they know they're favourites, they will think that they're going to be in and around promotion. But a loss like that can be very humbling, especially to happen early doors, get it out the way, and they know that they're going to be favourites for a lot of games, but teams will not just lie down for them. They're going to have to convert more chances, and they can't afford to lose like they did against Harrogate. So it's going to be very interesting to see, first of all, how Bristol Rovers line up, and secondly, if they can get the job done against a Fleetwood side that did look quite good against Barnet. So my prediction, I can see Fleetwood being very up for this early doors, maybe even getting an early goal, but what will follow most likely after that is they'll invite the pressure of Bristol Rovers, who I think will get an equaliser, and then once the game sort of pans out like that, it's very difficult for it to shift. Bristol Rovers will be in the driving seat, and I think they might leave it a bit late, but they're going to go and get themselves a winner. So I think it's going to be 2-1 to Bristol Rovers, but you know, it also might just be Bristol Rovers get the win and they show up and show everyone that actually we are here for promotion. But I do think Fleetwood are going to be very up for this early doors. Finally, in League 2, I've got Oldham versus Colchester, and what a start it was for Oldham last week. Yes, they may have only drew, and yes, they didn't score, but that doesn't matter. They were up against the promotion favourites, MK Dons, and ultimately the fans got a great away day. They took large numbers. It's a great reminder of what life is like in the EFL, and I think they'll carry that momentum into this game against Colchester. Colchester are going to want to be getting into the playoff this season. It was quite an even game with Tranmere. They're going to want to sort that out for this game. I can see see them throw in the kitchen sink here to get 3 points, but Oldham, don't underestimate them. I think at Oldham as well, it's going to be very difficult. It could be one of those games where Colchester maybe get an early lead, but Oldham will certainly rally back. And with that, I do see Oldham getting all 3 points. I think the fans are going to be well up for it, and not that that does carry you through, but a good home crowd definitely gets the players up for it. Colchester will know this will be no easy task if they are to get 3 points, but I do think Oldham will get the win. It's going to be a tight game, but I see Oldham coming out on top. As for the rest of League 2, this is what I've got in terms of the results. I think it's going to be a very exciting weekend. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you've got to win, draw, lose, whatever it might be in the comments down below. Now, we're going to go on to League 1, and the first game I've got for you is Reading versus Huddersfield, and this game excites me a lot. Reading need to bounce back, there is no doubt about that. 2-0 loss to Lincoln on the first game, but now they're back at home. They're going to have a decent home support, so everything should go according to plan, until you realise it's Huddersfield that are going to show up. And they are by far the most informed team in the league. They look fantastic. And it's going to be very difficult for Reading to be able to get 3 points here. Huddersfield want to keep that good start going. They want to keep momentum. And for them, this is going to be a place they're going to look at, especially after last week and them losing to Lincoln. They're going to look at this with a bit of confidence and think, okay, this is somewhere where we can get 3 points. And genuinely, I don't know many teams that will beat Huddersfield in this league, especially if they do keep the form that they have started with. I know it's early days, but they really did look like a team that had been playing for years together. I'm expecting Alfie May to add to his goal tally as well. He's always going to be dangerous, and this is the sort of game where I can see him getting one, and that does feed into my prediction. Because I just don't see Reading adding too much. Huddersfield will have too much. I can see them getting the job done. I'm looking forward to seeing how they line up. If they change their tactics because they are away from home, Reading will have a lot to improve on, but it won't be enough time to improve enough to beat Huddersfield. So I'm going to go Huddersfield to win on the day, maybe 2-0, something like that. Up next, we've got Leyton Orient versus Wigan. I went for Leyton Orient to draw with Huddersfield last game week, and in hindsight, that was a silly thing to do, because realistically, whoever ended up going to Huddersfield on that first game was going to have a tough time. I can see it now. At the time, I don't know, I just thought they might take a bit longer to gel, but it was a very tough away day for them. They will be looking to bounce back, as I say. They are now at home, and they are up against a Wigan side that dismantled Northampton 3-1 at Wigan. So this is going to be a very interesting game. I see these two teams very close in the table at the end of the season, so I feel as though this will be a real test between the two. Leyton Orient are going to be relying on the strikers to get the job done. I did think Connolly looked sharp last weekend. I do think he'll score a lot of goals still. I think at home as well, he'll have a lot of confidence, and if anyone's going to break the deadlock and get the opener, I think it's going to be him. I think Leyton Orient will start well, but Wigan overall, they're a hard team to play against, and I can imagine them very much easing into the game, making life very difficult for Leyton Orient and really sucking the atmosphere out of the stadium. Will it be Fraser Murray that was the main man again this week? He certainly was last week against Northampton, so I will be interested to see that one there. We are also notable mention, he was very good last weekend. So for this one, I'm just going to get straight to it. I've got this as a both teams to score draw. I think this is going to finish 1-1, 2-2, maybe even 3-3. I see it as a relatively high scoring game, and I think the two sides will just be deadlocked. End to end, fun game, one for the spectators to certainly enjoy. Finally, for League 1, I have got Wickham versus Stockport. So last weekend, I called both of their games correct. I had Stockport down as beating Bolton, and I had Bradford down as beating Wickham. Now, a lot of people have had Wickham higher in their predictions for the whole season. I didn't really buy into it. I'm still a bit unsure on Mike Dodds, and his managerial ability is going to be tested to the max here, because Dave Challinor's Stockport looked the real deal this season. However, I do also think they look a little bit shaky at times defensively. Bolton definitely did carve them open, and on another day, Bolton would have had many goals against them in the last game. I can see Wickham having a lot of possession, but for me personally, that will fit into Stockport's game plan very much so. So what I can see is Stockport getting an early goal, then digging deep a little bit, dropping down, but realistically, when you've got Kyle Wootton to hold the ball up front, Jack Diamond on the left, Malik Motherson on the right, they've got so much pace in the counter-attack. I think on transition, that's where they're going to see their goals. I really just don't see how Wickham can come away from this winning. Maybe if they get an early goal and then push on, but realistically, I think Stockport, as I say, will strike on the counter, will get some goals. I think it's going to finish 2-0 to Stockport. As for the rest of League One, this is what I've got. Let me know in the comments down below if you think there's any chance of any of it coming in. I personally think there's a couple of rogue shouts in there, so please do let me know. Now, to the main event, we have got the Championship, and I'm starting off with Norwich versus Millwall. Now, I've chosen this one because I think there's two very good teams here. Certainly, both of these teams will finish in the top half, but I think this is going to be a very good early test for both of them. Lots of new signings in terms of Norwich. Millwall have a solid squad from last season. A couple of new additions that will really help them, like Alfie Doherty. It's going to be a very interesting game. For Norwich, I'm very interested in Garden, if I've said that correctly, and Diallo to see how they fit in. Obviously, Josh Sargent, is he going to start? Is he not? There's obviously a lot of links with him at the moment. Will he play? I genuinely have no idea at this point. Leon Manning's got a real decision on his hand. If he does go for Garden up front, will we see a striker hit the ground running? Maybe we will. Diallo, of course, should probably start on the left wing, I'm assuming, and it will be interesting to see how he gets on, how well it will translate from Metz to Norwich. And yeah, 21 years of age, he's one of those players I've got my eye on. Will he also start this... Will he also start the season with a goal, with an assist? We'll have to see. As mentioned, Millwall made a few additions this transfer window. The one in particular that I liked was Alfie Doherty. It's a very solid choice at left back. They've paid a fair whack for him as well. So I'm expecting him to start and also have a very solid game against whoever it is that he comes up against on that Norwich right-hand side. But yeah, I think this one's going to be a very close game. I've got it down as a draw. Even though I think Norwich will have a better season overall, I'm assuming these signings are going to take a bit of time to gel in. Millwall under Alex Neil, a very solid team, very organised team. So I'm expecting this one to be a very close game. It might even finish a 0-0, a 1-1. But I looked at this game and thought this is a game of two sides that are really going to push each other on the first game of the season. Up next, we've got Southampton versus Wrexham. And when the fixtures were announced, everyone looked out for who have Birmingham got and who have Wrexham got. And funnily enough, they've got the two teams that have been relegated from the Premier League. But of course, it's not scripted. Of course it's not. So yeah, this game, very interesting though. I think Southampton will come out on top. I'll just jump straight to the prediction. I think they'll come out on top. I can see this being a 3-0 game. Wrexham, the signings they've made, I said in my predictions episode, I don't necessarily think they'll finish in the top half. Any hope they do have of getting any points from this game, they'll be relying on signings like Windass, like O'Brien, like Connor Cody to come in and do a good job. Connor Cody will bring some vital experience to that defence, but it shouldn't be enough. I'm expecting players like Cameron Archer to hit the ground running. He'll want to start this season off with a goal. He is my tip for the Championship top scorer. And yeah, he's going to want to start the season off well. As well as Cameron Archer wanting to start the season well, of course, Will Steele will want to do so also. First time managing in England, first ever test in English football up against Wrexham. So he's going to want to start this game with a win and show the Southampton fans a glimpse of what's to come with the football he wants to play. And he's had no issue joining clubs and winning straight away. So I don't think there'll be much adaptation. I'm very interested to see how quickly we can see the Will Steele style of play in this Southampton team. I think that he takes a lot of what previous managers have given, especially Russell Martin, so I'm very excited to watch this one. As I say, Southampton 3, Wrexham 0. You've heard it here first. And finally, the best game in the Championship this week, if you ask me, it's the Friday night game. It's Birmingham versus Ipswich. Another one of the fixture lists where you look at and think, yep, definitely not scripted, but this is perfect. You've got newly promoted Birmingham up against Ipswich, who are looking to probably set the record points total. That will probably be their aim this season. And it's not as simple as just saying that this is going to be an Ipswich win, because I think St Andrews is going to be absolutely rocking. Realistically, Birmingham fans, let me know if this is true, but I would say as a Birmingham fan, surely there's not been a more exciting season to be a part of, especially in the last 10 years or so. This is their time to mount the push for promotion back to the Premier League and get rid of this agenda that they are a small club. I'm expecting the winner of this game to win the battle of the midfield, and I think the two centre midfields in this game are going to be key. say, whoever wins this battle will win the game, dictate the game. And I think that Ipswich might just have the upper hand. In terms of chances, of course, Birmingham will have chances, but I think this Ipswich defence is going to be able to deal with this Birmingham attack. Jay Stansfield had an all-right League One season, so I'm going to be looking for him to have a better season this season because the price tag he went for in League One, he has got so much to prove. But I do think that Jacob Greaves, Dara O'Shea, they are going to be able to deal with him, no problem whatsoever. And in terms of Damari Gray and Kyogo, if that is how they do line up, I'm just not sure that they're going to come in and hit the ground running. I think they might be good signings, but it might take a bit of time to get there. But I think it's going to be quite the opposite for Ipswich. So I see Birmingham's weak points as the fullbacks, and I think that Ethan Laird in particular is a weakness. I'm looking at Jaden Philogene-Badace to take this game by storm, to score against Birmingham. I'm sure if he does, we'll see a celebration of some sort, shushing the Birmingham fans, obviously back to his Villa roots. But I think he's going to be the main man. I would personally start him off the left, put him up against Ethan Laird and watch him cause chaos. But don't get me wrong, this game is going to be so tight. I cannot wait to watch it. The way that I see this going, I see maybe 1-0 to Ipswich and then right at the death, catching him on the counter. Birmingham will want to go for it. They'll have a very good mentality about this squad this season. I do like Chris Davis. I think he plays very good football. So this is going to be two very good managers against two very good sides. It's a very good example of Championship football. And as I say, I just cannot wait to see who comes out on top. I'm backing Ipswich, of course. It will just be very interesting to see if Birmingham can cause a bit of an upset and really take this bounce of promotion and run with it. As for the rest of the Championship, this is what I've gone for. I can see it being tight in a few games, a few obvious winners. But yeah, I'm going to be doing the bet. I'm going to be doing the ACCA Challenge. That's going to be over on the short form. I'm going to be posting the ACCA Challenge on Saturday morning where I'm going to be using these predictions and trying to win some money on a bet. So follow and have a look at that if you want to follow my bet. But that is the end of this EFL predictions. The Championship is back. League One and League Two resuming. We're 1 week away from all football being back and I can't wait for that in the Premier League. But until then, thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate the support. Championship predictions are out now. I've done a deep dive into it. It's 50 minutes long. So if you want to go and see what I say on your team, go and check that out. And if you are enjoying the content and you're not subscribed, please feel free to do so. I appreciate it loads. So yeah, let's see what happens this weekend and I'll see you on the next one.